Hi everyone, my name is Alex Vera, and this tutorial will introduce the basics of modeling in Creator to help you getting started with your projects. Once Creator is installed, launch Creator, select the workspace and click OK. If this is the first time you open Creator, go to Window, Preferences, Conformic, and Licensing and enter your license key. Let's create a new project. In the Project Explorer, click on the Create New Project link. Select Conformic Creator Project and click the Next button. Give your project a name, select an empty project radio button, then click the Next button. Now we will add a design configuration to your project. If you want, you can give your design configuration a name and click the Next button. In the last step of the project creation wizard, you can add a scripting backend that will enable you to export the generated test cases in various formats. Let's add the Excel scripter and click Finish. Conformic has two views, one for test design and one for modeling. Let's switch to the modeling view. In this tutorial, we will create a model containing a simple login functionality. A creator model consists of a structure diagram and an activity diagram. The structure diagram is used for defining the application interfaces that are relevant for testing, and the activity diagram is needed for explaining the functionality of the system. Let's create a structure diagram. Right-click on the model folder in your project, select New Structure Diagram and give a name to the diagram. It is strongly suggested to name the structure diagram with something that relates to the system interfaces. Let's name our diagram Login Interfaces and click the Finish button. In the modeling view, you can use a palette, a toolbar located on the top, or the canvas to add objects. I will be using all three of the options throughout the tutorial for demo purposes. Let's add a screen object. Select a palette, click on a screen object in your user interfaces category, place it on the canvas, and give the name to the screen. Now let's add a form object inside the screen, give it a name, and add a couple text boxes, one for username and one for password. Then we can add a button and call it Login. Let's also add a pop-up, place it on the canvas, and give it a self-explanatory name, Error. Conformic has a live check-in mechanism that helps and guides the users to create models in a correct way. All errors must be fixed in order to generate test cases. As you can see, we have an error stating that there is no activity diagram, hence the test cases cannot be generated. So let's add an activity diagram from the Project tab by right-clicking on the Model folder and selecting New Activity Diagram. Name the activity diagram as Login Activities and click the Finish button. As there can be multiple activity diagrams, Creator needs to know which diagram is the main activity diagram in order to generate tests. Right-click on the login activities and set it as the main activity diagram and the error will disappear. Now we are ready to create an activity model. Make sure you have the login activities diagram open, select an initial node and place it on the canvas. Now select an activity, place it on the canvas as well, and name it Login. Note that I just used Canvas to add my activity. Now let's add a control flow from the initial node to the activity. When hovering over the activity, note the lightning icon. This icon enables adding actions that are generated automatically from the structure diagram. Click on the action icon and under the Display Screen action, select Display Login Screen and click OK. Let's also add an user entry action. Click on the action icon and under User Entry action, select Login Screen, then fill Login Form and click OK. Next, click on the action icon again and under User Entries, select Login Form that belongs to Login Screen. Select the Click Login button action and click OK. Now we have communicated to Creator that once login activity is reached, a login form will be displayed, a form will be filled out, and a login button will be clicked. Note that all the actions like display screen and fill form have been generated automatically from our login interfaces diagram. There are multiple ways to add data as well as data import capabilities, but in this tutorial we will use a value object to enter the possible login data. Click on the FF or Fill Form action and navigate to the Properties tab on the right side of the canvas. Double-click on the input constraint, select New Login Form Value and press OK. Now you can add data to the form. Let's name our value object Login Data and insert some data to the username and password fields. Creator offers a variety of different data coverage options. Choose all possible combinations. Now let's continue modeling. Once you select an activity, an arrow icon will appear. Click on the outgoing arrow and drag it on the canvas. Once you release the arrow, Creator will let you select an element that you want to be connected to. Select a new decision element and name it User Validation. You can also place a final node on the canvas, name it Successful Login, and add a control flow from the decision element. Once the control flow option is prompted, select Yes Control Flow. Let's also create a new activity going from the decision element and name it Bad Login. Here we can add an error pop-up action by clicking in the action icon and selecting Display Error Pop-up. Next, click on the pop-up action, navigate to the Properties tab, click on the pop-up contents, select a new error pop-up value, and in the error text field enter an error message the user needs to see upon entering the wrong data. Make sure to save the project frequently as the Problems tab updates only upon saving the project. At this point you may observe that there are two errors saying that there are no values in condition. This means that our decision element needs to have some data values to operate with in order to choose the yes or no path. In the decision element you can add different kind of conditions and Creator will generate tests based on those. But before adding conditions, let's add a variable to store the data we have entered in the form. Select a variable and place it on the canvas. A pop-up will appear where you need to specify the data object of the variable. Select Form, Login Form and click OK and the variable will be created on the canvas. Let's call our variable Data Storage. Now select a data flow and connect it from the Fill Form action into the header of the variable. If you now click on the Fill Form action, you will see that the data entered in the form is now stored in the data storage variable. Let's connect another data flow from the variable into the user validation diamond. Now you can see that the first value for the condition is given from the data storage variable. Now let's add the second value. Double-click on the second value, select New Form Value and click OK. In the username field, let's add good user and in the password field, good password. This means that if the field values from the data storage will match the values we have entered, the test generation engine will select the yes path. In all other cases, no path will be taken. Let's save the project. As you can see, all errors disappeared. Let's add a control flow from the bad login activity into the login activity, as we want to let the user continue adding username and password values in order to log in successfully. You can also add requirements into the model. Now let's assume that we have a business requirement stating that the error pop-up must be shown if the user enters wrong credentials. Select an action icon in the bad login activity. Select a requirement action and click OK. Now click on the requirement action, navigate to the Properties tab, click on the requirement identifier and add the exact requirement statement that you have in your business requirement. This means that Creator will add the requirement as one of the checkpoints that will be covered after the error pop-up is shown. Now let's switch to the test design view and load the model by clicking Load Model button. After the model is loaded, you will see test targets and the model appearing in the test design view. Now click on the Generate Test Cases button. Please observe that only one test case has been generated. Also, Test Targets view states that not everything has been covered and the model browser shows what part of the model has not been covered by the generated tests. One of the reasons for not having enough coverage is that model is done incorrectly and it is impossible to cover the model. The other reason can be that there is not enough a so-called look-ahead depth in the project. For more information on the look-ahead depth, please refer to Creator User Manual. Let's increase the look-ahead depth by right-clicking on the project and clicking on the properties. Increase the look-ahead value to 3, click OK and generate test cases again. Now 4 test cases have been generated and everything is covered by 100%. The test targets along with the traceability matrix and coverage report can be exported into any format and into any ALM solution. Let's select test case 2 as is the first test case that covers our business requirement. When you click on a test case, all other windows will be updated automatically. You can see from the model browser that the selected test case covers the whole model flow as the model is highlighted in bold. Let's review the test case. If you double-click on the arrows or test steps, you will see the generated data for the particular test step. Also, the model browser will highlight the actions, activities, and control flows that are covered by the test step. Remember, we added the Excel scripting backend when creating the project. You can find it under the design configuration. Let's export the test cases into Excel by clicking the Export Test Cases button. Right-click on the Excel test suite.xls and select Open with System Editor. You can find the exported test cases in the Test Cases tab in your Excel document. As you can see, Conforming Creator is a solid solution for test generation, review, and release decision making. I hope this video will help you to get started with your project and wish you a great time modeling with Creator. Thank you.